All right, well, I guess I'll just get started then. I want to thank everybody for coming first. I want to thank my dad who's here with me, my mom who's back in Arizona, Coach Hoke, Coach Funk for everything they've done for me, Coach Borges who's also here. And I'm not really good with notes or anything like that, but I guess I'll just, when I was told what I was told from the advisory board, and it was good. And a lot of people had a lot of questions about whether I was mature enough to enter the NFL right now. And if you play football and you have a mindset to play football, you don't like to hear any criticism, and you want to grow from that criticism. And my biggest thing going into this January 1st bowl is to treat it like I was in the NFL, treat it like I was a NFL player, more film, taking more time with my technique and fundamentals and all the things that I needed to do to know that I'd be successful. And with the game that I played, I think individually I played one of my best games I have in my career, and I really proved to myself that I could go to the NFL and be successful and do the things that I want to do. But when you go to a place like Michigan, the tradition here and all the things that this has to offer, and what Coach Hoke has brought into my life and all the things that he's done for me, along with Coach Funk and Coach Borges, it was a tough decision when you first look at it black and white. But when you really go into detail about it and really think and take the time to sit down, turn your phone off, and think to yourself and all the things that are best for you, there was no doubt in my mind that I have to return to the University of Michigan and Team 134 and help lead this team as a senior. My first season, the season I came in, we were coming off a 9-3 season, and my 2009 class, quote unquote, was possibly responsible for helping bring Michigan back to national relevance and going to the Sugar Bowl and being January 1st bowls. But that's never the goal here. The goal here is a Big Ten championship always and forever, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help lead this team and help our running backs get the yards they need to get and be successful and lead this offensive line with the younger guys. When you got guys like Kyle Kalis and Ben Braden, Eric Magnuson, those guys, I want to be a part of their lives for one more year and help them to develop into something where they could possibly be in my position in a couple of years. And like I said before, there was really no doubt in my mind at the end of it that I had to be back at the University of Michigan for one more year. So with that, if y'all have any questions, go and ask me some questions.
When did you make the final decision, Taylor?
I had a good idea. I told you all about it. I had a good idea about everything before going in the bowl game, that I wanted to be at the University of Michigan. Sorry. No worries. Go for it.
Give me one of these right here.
But after playing that bowl game, there's a lot of question marks that came up about everything, how well I played and stuff like that. But, Jadavion Clowney, he's a great player, and he does a lot of great things, and I hope all the best for him. I'll probably see him in a couple of days at the Walter Camp in Connecticut. But, it really, like I said, it really was a no-brainer at the end.
If you have a question, we can use the mic.
Can you go into a little bit about what else the NFL Draft Advisory Board said to you in those papers?
Well, I sent in a couple of films. I sent I think, Alabama film, Notre Dame film, and I think one other, I don't remember. But the draft board came back and said I'd be a high first-round draft pick.
You said at the bowl game you were going to come back and talk to your teammates before you made the announcement. What was the reaction in that room?
When I first made the announcement, I thought it'd kind of be kind of quiet and just kind of nod their heads like good deal. But they started clapping and cheering, and I'm happy to have that kind of respect from my teammates, and that's number one. That's most important. That's the most important thing is the respect of my teammates and my coaches, and I was glad to have that.
When you get the notice from the advisory board saying you'd be a high draft pick, at that point do you start to question it at all, or?
Yeah, it was always in question. It was always a thought, when you say the NFL in the first round, that sounds amazing. But, I talked to Angelique before when I was at the Big Ten championship game, and, she said, why would you stay? What's the reason why you would stay? And I asked her, have you ever played at the University of Michigan? She said, no. And I mean, if you play at the University of Michigan, whether it's basketball, hockey, football, you know, there's a tradition here, and there's something that you want to be a part of. And if I do what I need to do, I'll be able to play in the NFL for however long. But you only get one more year of college, and that's one thing I talked with my dad a lot about. Is you know, he was kind of in the middle of things. Everybody told me, you know, it's your decision to make. No one can make a decision. Everybody's situation is different, and I knew that I had to come back. There was no choice for me.
Are you and your dad, have you already talked about taking out an insurance policy?
Yeah, that's definitely happening. So.
Has that been done already?
I'm sure we got some paperwork to do and stuff like that, but that's not my main concern right now. Yeah. So.
When did you, you said you wanted to wait to talk to your teammates. When did you inform them? What was their reaction like? And I can't think of what, I was going to ask you something else, and I can't remember now.
Well, go ahead and think about it if you want.
Okay. Can you answer that
You
part?
want to go there? All right. Well, I spoke to my teammates about 20 minutes ago, and like I said before, the reaction was, you know, they were real excited about it. And like I said before, it's a great feeling to have that kind of respect from my teammates. But I have a lot more to do, a lot more to grow on, and nothing I've done from a football standpoint or outside of football has been perfect. So I have a lot to work on.
Did you, I mean, were they surprised? I mean, did most people think you were leaving?
Yeah, I'm very surprised.
And my last question is, I thought of it. Jake Long, did you talk to Jake at all about this decision?
I was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana for after the bowl game until now, and you know, I had about a 30 to 45-minute conversation with him. And when I first started this process, I kind of wanted, you know, as anything, you want somebody just to give you the answer. Nobody wants to make this big of a decision, especially at the age of 21. And he just told me the same thing as everybody else did. You know, it's your decision. I asked him why he stayed, and it's funny because every single thing he said about staying at the University of Michigan went through my head countless times. And so it's kind of interesting to feel like we kind of have the same mindset going into this thing.
Taylor, a lot of people will say, wow, there's a lot of question marks about the offensive line, whether you came back or you didn't. You must have a level of confidence in what's coming back on an offense that you think this is going to be a pretty good one. You
know, there's a tradition of great offensive lines here, and I have no doubt in my mind that this offensive line will be successful if we do the things we have to do in the offseason. You know, it's January 9th. There's time, but there's not enough time, and we got younger guys, and that's one of my biggest reasons for coming back is to kind of help these guys out, but most importantly, push this team, and have these seniors push this team to know that when we step on the field, we're going to be successful, and our goal is a Big Ten championship. And I know with coming back and pushing us and doing all the things we have to do, then we can win a Big Ten championship.
Taylor, what's it like to? You pretty much surprised everybody, I think, with this decision. It was a foregone conclusion you were leaving. What's it feel like to kind of, I don't know, pull this off pretty successfully?
I think predictions are, I mean, to some extent, worthless. I mean, you can predict everything. No one predicted what was going to happen on Monday night in the national championship game. Everyone here predicted me to leave. Even I think my dad thought I was going to leave too. And so, it was my decision, like I said, and I had to weigh the pros and cons. And most people won't understand the situation if they haven't played at Michigan.
When you get evaluated every day by your coaches,
absolutely.
When you read an evaluation from somebody else, what did you learn about yourself, or what was reaffirmed, or?
Well, I'm sorry. What was your question?
When somebody else does the evaluating and you're reading it, what is that like, and did you learn anything about yourself or how you're perceived?
Not only from my coaches?
No, from the
NFL.
Yeah.
It was a good feeling to have. I mean, every kid grows up and wants to be a pro athlete. Most of them want to be, pro football players. And to know that I had that opportunity was a great feeling. But like I said before, I have unfinished business here. I came in 2009, and I want to finish with my class.
Taylor, was there anybody besides Angelique who tried to talk you into leaving?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people that, I think a couple of guys that I played with when I was a freshman texted me and said, so where are you training at? And all that. And so, I mean, like I said, you can't assume. Everyone knows what assuming means, so I think that's...
I guess quickly I'll just say that, we are excited as a program and as a team to have Taylor's leadership and him coming back to finish his career at Michigan. I think you heard it from him. Unless you've been in this football program or understand what Michigan means, you make the decision that you make like he did. So we're excited, and we have high expectations, and that will never change, and high expectations that he understands and that he will help us keep achieving.
Coach Oak will answer a few questions about Taylor and his decision.
Brady, you've known Taylor for a little bit now. How has he matured in the last couple of years?
I think, from the standpoint of how he approaches every day, I think how he approaches every week. And when you look at it from a football standpoint and the standpoint of himself preparing, I think that's probably been something that you've really noticed. I think how he communicates with his teammates and how he sets a bar that's pretty high that we all want him to do and expect of him to do.
Brady, were you surprised that Taylor decided to come back?
No.
Why? I mean, you kind of hinted at it a little bit. Why were you not surprised?
Because this team's important to him. And, he did all the right things. When you go through the evaluation process, when he consulted with folks that are important in his life and important to him, I just think he loves his teammates. And there's a closeness there. And, like he said when he told the team, we'd had a team meeting, and he'd asked me if he could talk to his teammates, and the reaction that he got about staying tells you that there's a bunch of guys in that room who have a lot of respect for him.
You were going to have to fashion an offensive line whether he stayed or whether he left.
Mm-hmm.
How essential or how much easier will that be with him in there, not only as your left tackle, but as somebody that is working with these younger guys?
Well, John, I think the experience that he's gained, the number of games, the number of snaps, fundamentally and from the technique, and then also the maturity that he has shown, I think is something also that he can bring to one of those young guys or two of those young guys when you look at how fast they have to mature. And I think when you've lived it and you've been through it, I think it's a little easier.
Brady, did Taylor come to you for any guidance in making this decision at all?
No. We talked about, a little bit how to go about it, but maybe things to think about. Just, I guess, more things that he ought to be thinking about.
Brady, what kind of message do you hope this sends to, other guys that are in his same shoes at Michigan, that have a chance to be a first-round pick and make millions and come back for another season?
I think it's a strong message. I think the one message that Taylor and I talked about, and he mentioned to me early, was offensive linemen here, they stay. And there's been a tradition of that, with Jake and Jansen, and you can go back through it, and Hutch and all those guys. And so I think that's all something that's part of it because of the depth of the linemen that have played here, and to be a guy who's mentioned with those guys is important.